What's up, guys? A lot of people are asking themselves, should I go back to PA school? Let's dive into that and look at why that may not be the best option for you. Should I go back to school and become a PA? I took 3 years off after I finished my undergraduate degree, and I had to ask myself that same question. Do I want to go back to school? And if I do want to go back to school, do I want to be a PA? So let's look at the facts and some of the things you'll have to address in going back to PA school. The first obstacle in becoming a PA is actually getting accepted to the program. I would argue this is the hardest part of actually becoming a PA. You can't just go down to the dollar store and get your PA certificate. It's highly competitive to get into PA school. The acceptance rate across the nation is around 33%. The individual acceptance rates of each school is roughly about 7%. Now, many applicants apply to 4 or 5 or more schools, but if you were to only apply to one school, you have roughly a 7% chance of getting into that school. So my advice to you is plan for it to take more than 1 year to get into a program. If you don't get in that first attempt, are you going to apply again a second year? If the answer is probably not, or you don't know, I would advise against actually going back, doing all the work to apply again. If you don't have that resolve and commitment to go ahead and stay the course, have that perseverance, and be ready to apply for that second year if you don't get accepted, then you'll probably be beat out by someone who's willing to sell their soul in order to get that seat. The second obstacle, you may have to retake some classes, and you may have to take more than what you think you're going to have to retake. So every school has their own prerequisites in order to be accepted to the program. Common ones are GPA, you have to have a bachelor's degree, you have to have so many patient care hours, and this also varies between schools. You usually have to have multiple reference letters from PAs or doctors, although some of this is fluctuating with the current coronavirus situation. More than that, schools have individual classes that they require in order for you to matriculate into their program. Just because you've taken A&P in the past doesn't mean they're going to accept it. There are several schools out there who they have a 7-year time limit on their classes. Now, usually this doesn't include every single class or your entire bachelor's degree, but it can include A&P, statistics, and I've seen a few others out there to where you had to take those classes within the last 7 years. The worst thing to do is to think you have your completion done and then be rejected because a class you took in the past and passed is not accepted by the school. The next thing you really need to consider is your financial situation. So once you go back to PA school, you're going to quit your job, whatever salary or income you have now. Not only are you losing your current income, but now you're taking on more debt from the school. You do need to make sure you calculate that cost. I have so many people ask me, can I work in school, or what jobs can I work while in PA school? I have to support myself. Short answer is you can't. School is going to be so intensive. It's not like undergrad, and it's not like in your graduate classes if you've taken those before. A typical part-time graduate studies is 6 hours per semester. Full-time graduate studies is 9 hours per semester. PA school, you're taking 22, 23 hours per semester at a graduate level. It is very fast-paced. You'll be in class from 8 to 5 every single day, required attendance. At the end of the day, once you're finished with class at 5, you go home, you eat, you may say hi to your immediate family, and then you're going to spend the rest of the night studying, trying to review the 700, 800 slides you just went over that day, and getting ready for the next set of 700 or 800 slides the next day. There's not going to be any repeat of information. You're not going to have time to review those slides the next day because you're on to a new subject, you're on to a new lecture, and it doesn't stop. So any free time you have isn't going to be invested into a job making money. It's going to be studying so you keep up your grades and can stay in good standing with the school. The next obstacle is the difficulty of the program. I don't know if you know this or not, but PA school is hard. And it's not hard on just an intellectual level. I think most of us can handle that. It's hard on you socially and emotionally as well. You can pretty much say goodbye to your friends and family for the next 2.5 years. Your peer group of your classmates who are all going through the same thing as you, they're gonna be your closest friends, your closest allies, because people outside of your program aren't really gonna understand what you're going through. So if you have a partner or close family who's helping you with school, You have to make sure they understand what you're about to get into. It is extremely taxing on your close relationships that you're not going to have near as much time as you have with them as you have had for the last few years since you've been out of school. And also, because you quit your job to go back to PA school, you don't have the income anymore to support the activities you were doing before you went back to school. Just make sure you know what you're getting into. Like, it's not just a difficult program, but it consumes your life for a few years. This can be very taxing, especially if you're not expecting it. So if you made it this far and you're still interested in going back to PA school, that mindset that you have that you want to be a PA and nothing's going to stop you, even if you apply a second year, that's going to be the trait that actually gets you that spot, that gets you that interview. Everyone who's competing with you has a good GPA. Everyone who's competing with you has hundreds to thousands of hours of patient care hours. They all have letters of recommendation. That's not gonna set you apart that much. What is gonna set you apart is that mentality. I remember when I left my PA school interview, the last question they asked me was, if you don't get into school this year, what are you going to do? My first answer was cry. And after we laughed for a little bit, I said, well, you know, if I don't get into school this year, I'll be back next year. 3 days later, I was called and saying I have a seat and was accepted into the program. So anyway, I wanted you guys to know, like, PA school is great. Actually, PA school sucks, but being a PA, the career actually is great, and I love it now that I'm on the outside. It's a great profession. I love what I do. I love taking care of patients, and I highly recommend it. But if you are going back to school, don't think it's all rainbows and unicorns. It's a very difficult path. Make sure you understand what you're getting yourself into. Take a look at the prerequisites of the schools that you are interested in and make sure you have those fulfilled, or you have a plan to get fulfilled first. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm really trying to show you the truth. And yes, I think it's great to have that positive mentality, but sometimes the truth is glossed over. So I really want to bring you some high quality information. So if you find that helpful, leave a like below. I really appreciate it. Subscribe, leave me a comment if there's anything I missed or something you want to see in a future video. And I'll see you guys next time.